Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you are new, if you're not new, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marina and today I'm really excited. Okay, I know I say that about like every video, but today I'm really excited because I'm doing another show breakdown. And I haven't done one of these in I think 2 months, which is long overdue, considering how much television I have watched in the past few months. I'm gonna be probably pumping out videos like these for the rest of the month, the next few months actually, because I'm pretty sure I have at least 10 shows to catch up on. So that's gonna be fun because I enjoy doing these a lot. And by the title of this video, you already know what I'm about to be talking about. Today, I'm going to be talking about Shadow and Bone, the new Netflix show that has been trending on the front page #1 for the past, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. So I'm kind of late, but like not late enough where I can't talk about it. You know what I mean? If you haven't watched these before on my channel, I'm basically going to be talking about the characters, you know, giving my rundown of how I feel about them. And I'm going to be talking about stuff that I liked and stuff that I disliked before I get to the actual show. This is my first time doing one of these show reviews where I've read like the book beforehand, because like for those of you that don't know, Shadow and Bone is based off of the famous Grishaverse trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I read this after the show came out because if you watched my last video talking about the review and everything, the book came late. I wanted to read it before the show dropped on Netflix, but that just didn't happen. So yeah, I read the book, I watched the show, and I have to give my thoughts. Throughout this video, it might be a little different because I will kind of be making book and show comparisons, but not that much. I'm gonna try to just stick to the show in case people that haven't read the book don't really care. But also I read the book, so it's gonna be a little bit of in between. It's gonna be hard for me to separate the show from the book because there's a lot that needs to be discussed. But yeah, let's get into it. If you have no idea what Shadow and Bone is, I'm gonna guess you're living under a rock or don't have a Netflix account because it's literally been the talk of the town for the past few weeks. But I will just give you the summary. I'll give you the book's summary actually, because why not, you know? Oh, I got the collector's edition, by the way. Look at how pretty it is. It's so, you guys don't care. Okay. Orphaned, expendable Alina Starkov is a soldier who knows she may not survive her first trek across the Shadowfold, a swath of unnatural darkness crawling with monsters. When her regiment is attacked, Alina unleashes dormant magic not even she knew she possessed. Ooh. Now Alina will enter a lavish world of royalty and intrigue as she trains with the Grisha, her country's magical military elite, and falls under the spell of their notorious leader, the Darkling. He believes Alina can summon a force capable of destroying the fold and reuniting their war-ravaged country, but only she can master her untamed gift. As the threat to the kingdom mounts and Alina unlocks the secrets of her past, she will make a dangerous discovery that could threaten all she loves and the future of a nation. Welcome to Ravka, a world of science and superstition where nothing is what it seems. Yep, let's get into it, shall we? So let's start off with my girl, Alina, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so you know, she wasn't the worst main character. I personally feel like I liked her more in the show than I did in the book. In the book, she seemed like kind of a two-dimensional character, where in the show I actually like felt for her. Like I feel like that's the actress's job. She killed the role. All of the actors in the show actually really killed their parts. Just wanted to put that out there before like actually getting into it. I feel like Alina, like she wasn't the worst main character I've seen on television, because in the book she kind of annoyed me. While in the show I sympathized with her a little bit more than I did in the book. Alina is the sun summoner, so you know, I feel like everyone knows this type of trope in shows nowadays where you have like this utopia, dystopia of sorts, and you know, the main girl I blame Katniss Everdeen for this trope, but the main girl is usually the one who has something different than the other. She's not like the other girl. She has a power of sorts that can save the world, and it's all put on her shoulders. And yeah, that kind of thing. She's that in the show. The Sun Summoner, who's supposed to like get rid of the fold. I honestly don't mind her character. Like I said, I thought she was pretty cool. She was an orphan, correct? I have questions, so I feel like my questions are going to be answered later on in the books, because I'm going to read the whole trilogy. I only read the first book. I have the second book, I just haven't started it yet. I have questions about this like orphanage, because it wasn't answered in the show nor in the first book. When she hurt herself in the orphanage to suppress her powers, because she didn't want to be taken away if she did have powers, because if she did have powers, that means she would be separated from Mal, and I'll get to him in a second. But yeah, when she hurt herself by like, I don't know, I think she stabbed herself with a knife. Did that mean that she knew all along that she had powers? I'm really confused, because like she never explained it in the show and never really touched on it in the book. And the book is in her point of view, so I don't really know if that was like a conscious choice that she made. Like she could feel her power when she was young and just didn't want to like admit to it or what. But I would like to know more. She had a few dumb bitch moments, like, you know, I'm gonna get into the stuff that I dislike at the end of the show, but I noticed this early on in the show with Elena. She just trusts the Darkling like right off the bat. Like it didn't take much from him for her to be like, okay, yeah, sure, I trust you, why not? I don't know what that was about. I was like, really, you're gonna trust a guy named the Darkling? Granted, he's not really mentioned to be the Darkling that much in the show, whereas in the book they only call him the Darkling. I know in the show he's like, he has like a few different names, General Kerrigan, Alexander, blah blah blah, but still, to trust him so easily, I was like, girl, you got to get it together. You're going off to a land where you've never been, this royal palace where like barely anyone knows about you or your power. You're like a saint. Literally, that's what they call her. They call her a saint. No one really knows about you. No one really trusts you. No one really probably kind of likes you other than what you're known for as the Sun Summoner, but you're trusting him so easily. It's getting weird, you know? I was like, why? Another part where she kind of made me mad, but I guess it ended up working in her favor. She didn't kill the stag. I was like, okay, because I was like, you had one job. You had one job. This pissed me off in the book. It kind of pissed me off in the show, but then I feel like they did it a lot, like the portrayal of it in the show did a lot better than what it did in the book. You had one job to kill the stag and you didn't, and then what happened, and now I'm kind of just like, I mean, I guess it worked out for her, good for her, but I don't know, whatever. It's fine, because now she's safe. Oh, we don't really have to worry about anything wrong with the amplifier. It's in her, literally, it's literally in her collarbone, the deer antlers. I just really hope the best for her. She's actually a really good main character in my opinion. I feel like the actress really did a good job of bringing the character to life, because in the book she just wasn't it for me personally. So next, get into Mal. Nothing much to say about him. He grew up with Elena in the orphanage. Look, childhood friends to lovers. I don't mind the trope, but the way it was set up for him, it was really just a setup. It was literally a setup, because he's also kind of a two-dimensional character, whereas I feel like Elena was brought out more in the show. I feel like Mal, we didn't get anything from him in the show. He was just dirty all the time, like literally like dirt all over him. He always had a scowl on his face. We knew that he loved Elena and did everything to get her back, but we don't really know much about their past to actually root for them as a couple. At least for me personally, I feel like their relationship in general was underdeveloped. As for him as a character, he found the stag, so that's cool, good for him. He's kind of dumb, but that's okay, you know, because I see a lot in these shows that, like, the dumb guys are usually the hot ones, and that's okay, you know. Everyone has their role to play, usually the himbo roles, but everyone has their role to play. With him, I noticed, because you know that moment he was gonna kill Kerrigan on the skiff, but he didn't think about the heart renders on the skiff. He was like, yeah, let me just like run up to him and try to get him. Meanwhile, he's literally the Darkling, has probably the most amount of powers on the boat, like besides Elena, obviously. Then you have heart renders that work for him. You really thought you were gonna get close to actually even probably cut him or anything. It just seemed a little off. His whole approach, I feel like Mal as a character is just add to me. Like I know he means well, but I don't really feel anything towards him because we don't know much about him other than like he wants to protect Alina at all costs, and that's it. I don't really feel here nor there about his character. He's just around. Maybe I'll like him more next season because I guess we're gonna get more of him next season since him and Alina are officially reunited. Let's hope. Next, let's get into this. Let's get into the Darkling. Okay, aka Alexander Kerrigan, General Kerrigan, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, I'm gonna call him the Darkling because I think that's a cooler name than Alexander. But he has the power to summon shadows, amongst other things. I don't think we got really any indication of what his other powers are in the show, nor did I get it in the book, so I'm actually really curious to see where they're going to take that, because he's like literally immortal, so his powers grow over time as he gets older. I think that's how they explained it. I think that's really cool. I think he's a really cool character. However, what he did to Alina, not cool. Obviously trying to get her to be your slave, yeah, that's not cool. He's kind of an asshole, but he drove the plot forward, so I appreciate him for what he was. Because I'm gonna be honest, throughout most of the show I was kind of bored. I don't know if it was because I read the book beforehand and I knew what was gonna happen, but it just seems like everything was setting into place really like quick and dull. Like nothing was really happening, and then all of a sudden everything was happening, and I feel like his character just made everything a lot better like towards the end of the show. Like the last 3 episodes where things started to pick up, I feel like that was his job and he did it perfectly. The guy who plays the Darkling, good job. He acted his butt off. I actually feel like he killed the role as well. Now that's what he did to Alina. So he wanted her to be a slave, right? Like he wanted her to have the amplifier, but like he wanted to control her using it. But then like we get to know his past, about him being the maker of the unsee, the shadowfold, whatever you want to call it, right? Okay, so it was explained in the book how like the shadowfold came to be. I think it was Braga who explained it in the book, but in the show we got actual flashbacks. I understand why he did it, but I don't believe he did it on accident. Not to be a theorist or anything, but I don't think he did it on accident. If it were really on accident, I feel like he would have been more remorseful. He literally cast a whole shadow fold onto these people, these innocent people, and turned them into monsters. Yeah, he's a terrible person. However, the way that the show ended, of him coming out of that shadow fold with the monsters and him controlling it, badass. I can't wait to see what he does with that next season, because I didn't think he was gonna get killed off. He's literally the show's main villain, and there was no hint of a second villain coming up because it's the first season, so I knew he was gonna come back eventually and at the end of the last episode. But the way that he came back in that slow motion walk out of the desert with his little monsters, the Valkyra, following him, very cool. I liked that a lot. I think he's a really cool character, and I can't wait to see what they do with him moving forward. However, I will say I like the book version of the Darkling more, and I'll get into that later. But I feel like what they did with the show's Darkling, it was interesting to see. I enjoyed it, like for 2 separate reasons. Yeah, okay. Next character we're gonna get into is Genya. So Genya, I feel neither here nor there about Genya. I forgot the way that they pronounce it in the show. I'm just gonna call her Genya for now. Was Elena's only true friend, kind of, and then she wasn't. So I kind of saw that coming. That didn't happen in the book, but the way that like things were unfolding, I just kind of saw it coming. So I was like, oh, okay, the twist wasn't really a twist for me. I was like, huh, predictable, but that's okay. Pretty sure it's gonna lead up to a great redemption arc next season. I love a good redemption arc, so I'm ready for that. She turned out to be a spy for Kerrigan all along, to set Alina up, all that jazz, you know. Didn't end up sending Alina's letters to Mal, and like Mal's letters didn't get sent back to Alina, and so she was kind of the reason why Alina and Mal drifted apart, which I was like, okay, interesting. Overall though, she didn't really have anything when it came to like her character, her plot. There was really nothing. There was like a little bit, like they like explained how she kind of grew up in the palace and she was a kid, worked for the king and queen, got sexually assaulted by the king at a young age. She's an interesting character, but I just feel like Mal, we don't really know much about her. Like we haven't like dug beneath the surface of what her character could potentially be like. And now since like she backstabbed Alina, I feel like there's a lot more we could work with, because she just wants to be accepted in society, which is why she did what she did. But still, it's kind of, I need to know more. That's all I'm saying. I just need to know a little bit more. Now let's get on to Braga, the Darkling's mom, okay? Alina's trainer. I love this woman. I loved her in the book and I love her in the show. She's so funny to me. Like, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people love her. Like, she's like one of the most loved characters from like fans of Shadow and Bone. She's just great. For her to be the Darkling's mom, I was not expecting that, but I liked it nonetheless. When I read the book, my jaw like really dropped. It was a fun time. I was like, oh my god, an actual plot twist where I couldn't detect what was happening. Good job on the author. She helped teach Elena how to embrace her power. I thought that was really needed, because I was like, why is she like not doing anything? Like like, don't get me wrong, I understand like being the sun summoner is hard, and finding out that you have these powers like late in life, having to learn them. I know it's hard, but the fact that Alina wasn't really doing much with it, I was confused. So the fact that Braga like helped her embrace herself and tell her like, hey, in order for you to do this, you need to get rid of whatever is holding you back. And whatever is holding her back was like her wanting to be with Mal, wanting to be accepted into a human society and be like other people. And Braga was like, drop that shit, you're not like the others, okay? We've established this. You have the sun summoner power. You need to do what you got to do. I love her for that. I love her for teaching Elena that like, you just need to accept who you are and your responsibilities, and then like your power will come to be. And it did. So that was really cool. I don't know if this is how it's going to play out, because like I said, I haven't read the other books, so just take this as a theory for now. I don't know if it came down to what side she would be on in terms of a war, because obviously the Darkling is out for blood. Alina is like a hidden sun summoner who is going to destroy the fold at some point. But since she's the Darkling's mom, I don't really know what side she will fall on, because it's obvious that she loves her son, but she knows that like the shadow fold is a no-no. Like that should have never been made. So I'm curious to see how it will play out next season, like where she would stand, because like she wasn't there in the last few episodes, so I don't know what really happened to her. I don't know if the Darkling did something to her. I'd hope not, because she's one of my favorite characters. But you know me and these show breakdowns, my favorite characters never get what they deserve anyways. I feel like she'll end up being wishy-washy when it comes to picking sides, but I'm ready to see it. Like I feel like it's not really common for us to see like a mother-son dynamic when it comes to these types of shows, like the end of the world, oh my god, dystopian society, oh my god, the villain is actually like has some type of redemption, but like it's from his mother's point of view, kind of, because she still sees the good in him. At least that's how it was explained in the book. In the show it was kind of mentioned, but not really. I just want to see how it will play out, like what side she would choose, because she has kind of the same power as him, does she not? She can like summon shadows. I don't know if she has all of his powers, but like that's the main one. So I feel like she'd be helpful on Alina's side, but I don't know. I'm really curious. I don't know. It's gonna come down to it at some point, just like if she's still around, and I'm excited to see it. Okay, next, Zoya. Look, you guys know I like a good mean girl, okay? I love a good mean girl. However, with Zoya, I didn't understand her meanness. It just made her look bad, and that's not cute. She disliked Alina for no reason. It just wasn't a good reason, in my opinion. I think she disliked her because she was getting with the Darkling, and Zoya used to sleep with the Darkling, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's one of the reasons why she disliked her, because like Alina was starting to become the Darkling's favorite. But even that is kind of like not a great reason. You gotta rise above. Why are you fighting over guys, especially like this evil man? But then she didn't know that he was evil until the end, though, so I'll give her credit. She didn't know, and then she ended up helping Alina. So like now I'm ready. I don't know where she went though. I'm pretty sure she went back to the city where the shadow fold expanded, where her family is. I want to know what's gonna happen with her. Like, I'm actually curious. I know that Zoya is really, really loved in the Shadow and Bone fandom. I know that people love her a lot, so I'm ready to see the reason, because it's not like I didn't like her. I was just kind of like, I'm ready for a redemption arc of some sort. Not that all mean girls need a redemption arc. I won't even mind if she'll continue to be mean, but I don't know, I just feel like there's something missing. She obviously cares, like she's obviously willing to like do the greater good to save the world and save people, hence why she helped the crows on the boat, on the skiff. She helped Alina afterwards, after fleeing the skiff. Like she has a good bone in her body, and she made it clear that she still does not like Alina even after everything they went through. So I'm curious to see what happens with her, but as of right now, nothing much to say because we didn't learn much about her. So yeah. Next, let's get into the crows. So I did not read Six of Crows, literally nothing. I only read the first book of the Grishaverse, and I know that the Six of Crows duology is you have to read afterwards, but since the books and like whatever ties into the show don't correlate much whatsoever, considering it's a different timeline, I'm not really that mad. These characters, if you guys don't know, if you haven't read the book, the crows are supposed to be like in a separate timeline. Like they come way after Alina. Like Alina is known as like a legend in their duology series, but now they're here in the same universe, in the same timeline as Alina. So I just want to get that out of the way. I have not read Six of Crows, but I love them in the show and I can't wait to read them in the book. Cass. I love this man. I love all the crows, but I really love him. I want to know more about him. I know that he's like the leader of this group of like this Ocean 11 type heist gang shit. I love him. I want to know how he got his limp. I'm very curious. I want to know the backstory of how he brought this crew together. I'm curious about that as well. I want to know more about him and Inej. I want to know I want to know more about them. I feel like they were the most interesting part of this show, and they weren't even like the main characters. Like the plot didn't really follow their storyline. It followed Alina's technically, but they were what kept the show going. I feel like a lot of people would agree, especially people that have read both series. People say that the Six of Crows duology is 10 times better than the Grishaverse trilogy, which I'll probably agree with you with, because the characters themselves are a lot more interesting. So he gave the club away, his like crow club away for Inej's freedom. I want to know how that's going to play out, because now that they're back in like Ketterdam, I think. Are they back in Ketterdam or they're on their way, whatever, right? So he sold his club for Inej's freedom, and Inej still isn't free. I want to know how that's going to play out in season 2. I don't know how it's all going to play out, because since like they're like both groups have met or whatever, like Alina, Mal, the crows, whatever, they've all met. I want to know how that's going to play out in the second season, because literally it's not supposed to tie in. They're from 2 different timelines, so I'm very curious as to what's going to happen. I'm very excited. Yeah, the romantic tension between him and Inej, I just want to know more. It's there. Like you feel the tension more with them than with Mal and Alina, in my opinion, or like Alina and the Darkling. I don't know if it's the actors, or I don't know if like it's just like they just feel more. The characters, the crows, just feel more developed, and I just want to know more. I feel like there's a lot just hanging on a string waiting to be dropped, and I'm ready. But other than that, Kaz, literally nothing much to him. I thought he was actually pretty funny. I think the crows, like their whole entire like group, are very funny. I like them a lot. You could tell that he cares about like Jesper and Inej like a lot, but he just fails at showing it with words, and I could relate to him heavily. Like you could tell that like he seems like he's all about business, but really he cares about his crew. Like he loves them, and I love that. Like I feel like I'm gonna love him so much more as the show progresses, and I'm so excited. Next we have Inej. Bad bitch. Yeah, low-key would have liked her as a main character. There's just so much to go off of with her character that I feel like her character and Elena's like whole backstory kind of align in some way. Like they were both orphans. They grew up kind of like poor-ish. One thing though, Inej has a brother, and I don't know if she's looking for the brother. I'm interested to know where her story is going, because all she wants is freedom. All she wants is to be free of like the place where she works, where she has to kill people, like, because she doesn't like killing people and she just wants to be free of that and go find her like brother. So I want to know more. I doubt she's gonna be free, because like the crows are gonna probably still be together next season, but I want to know. I want to get a little taste of what her journey is going to be like when she gets her freedom, because I felt bad for her throughout the show. Like, obviously she didn't want to be stuck in this place where people like look down on her, and like it's just like the parallels between her and Elena are very interesting, and I feel like no one has talked about that when it comes to this show. Like, I feel like they would be really great friends. Sadly, we might not get to see that much since they're going their separate ways. Speaking of her and Elena, so her religious beliefs, like they like are about the sun summoner. Like, she believes in the sun summoner. She doesn't want to harm the sun summoner, which means that she couldn't kill Elena. And I know that Kaz was mad about that, but I was like, dude, chill. Like, he was getting all mad at Inej for her religious beliefs. I know that they needed Alina so they could get the $1 million or Krug, whatever, and I get it, but yelling at Inej for what she believes is not it. That's when I was like, dude, calm down, Kaz. You need to seriously shut up. And like, I felt bad for her, because it seemed like no matter what she did, Kaz was like, no, I don't believe in that. No, she's not real. It was obviously just a trick. Blah 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 blah. But Inej was like a firm believer, and like she stood firmly in her belief. She was like, yes, I believe in the sun summoner. I want to help her, because if it came down to it, she's the one that's going to save the world. Period. Inej. Exactly. Inej understands. Back to where she was working before. I think it was like she was like an assassin of sorts, but since she doesn't like killing, I would like to know why. They didn't really explain that much. I mean, obviously who likes killing, but like, if you're signing up to be an assassin, or maybe it wasn't her choice, I don't know. I need to know more. I feel like her story is gonna play out. Maybe we'll get more backstory for the crows next season, but I really want to know more about her, because she just seems like such a complex character. Also, the thing that she does where she like disappears and comes back and like shows up in front of people, then disappears a second later. She just seems really cool, and I just want to know more about her. Let's get into possibly my favorite character in the show, Jesper. This man, I love him with all my heart. I want nothing but good things to happen for Jesper. I just want him to be happy. I want him to keep on shooting his guns, which isn't the best thing I've said in my life, but it's true. I want him to keep wearing his top hat. I want him to find love with the stable boy that he met. I just want best for Jesper. He just seems like such a great guy. It seems like between all of the crows, like the 3 that we've seen so far, he's the one that keeps Inej and Cass from not like strangling each other, and I appreciate that, because there were multiple times where both Cass and Inej needed like his advice for something when it came down to like each other. I feel like they're great at communicating, but like not at the same time. Like, they kind of sucked at it, which is what made them fight half of the time. Like, there were a lot of feelings that did not get laid out on the table, and I feel like Jesper could feel the tension. Anyone from like a 2-inch radius, probably a 2-mile radius, could feel the tension between Inej and Cass. But Jesper, I feel like he handles it a lot better than most would. Like, he's very patient for such like, I don't know, frustrating group of people. Like, they're not the easiest people to work with, it seems, and I don't know, I just really like him. I hope he gets reunited with the goat too. The freaking goat. Oh my god, he was just probably my favorite part of the show. Only good things coming Jesper's way, and if not, then the show writers will have hell to pay. Leigh Bardugo would have hell to pay. If I don't read that he gets everything he wants in the Six of Crows duology, hell to pay. So next we have Arkan the Conductor. Not much to say about him, especially since like he's dead now. Yeah, not much to really say. He made a bargain with the leader of West Rafka that was worth more money than the deal to get Alina with the crows, so like he ended up betraying the crows in the end. There's not much to really say about him. I enjoyed his character nonetheless. I thought he was very smart, because I guess that was like his main role. He was like the intelligent guy who could get across the fold and back. Yeah, that's kind of what he did, and he accomplished it. I don't know if he's really dead though. I'm kind of sad if he is. I'm gonna assume he is. I feel like he would have been great like a great addition into the crow circle, because he was really smart and he was kind of funny. Like his antisocialness was very funny to me. Like he didn't know how to make friends in a bar like of grown adults. He was just like, that's not really my job. I don't make friends. I don't make acquaintances. When Cass made him go find a way to like get transported to the castle, he was like, how was that my job? I got y'all across here. I don't feel like talking to people. And I could relate to him. So I'm kind of sad if he's actually dead, but it is what it is, I guess. Next we have Nina. Look, another bad bitch. I love Nina. I think she's so freaking cute. I think she's funny. I think she's cute. I think she's fun. She's kind of like, despite her situation and what she got herself into, what she was basically thrown into in a literal sense, she's kind of like a happy-go-lucky person. She's very determined, very confident in herself and her abilities, and I just love her. I want to know more about her though, because I was really confused when I started the show and I saw her, because she's not in the first book either. I don't know if I think she's a crow. I think she's in the Six of Crows zoology, so I'm pretty sure she's a crow. But in the show, she's kind of just like by her lonesome. We know that she worked for the Darkling and was supposed to deliver information to him, and then she got taken by Gyarados. I think that's what they're called. Yeah, and she's a heart render, and I think heart renders are really cool. Like their power is very cool, especially with Nina's case, because it was in the show you only see heart renders cause destruction and pain towards others, whereas with Nina, she's very like cool, collected. She only uses her power, from what we've seen, to like calm people down and just like uplift them in some way, and I really like her character for that. She was taken by the Gyarados for some witch trial or whatever, where it wouldn't be a trial, she would just get killed, and then she meets Matthias, which I'll get to in a second. Overall, I really like her character. I feel like what she did for Matthias, she really didn't need to do. I know that like they became besties or whatever, but her kindness towards him was not deserved at all. He was such a jerk. Like actually, I want better for her, to be honest, but I know they're probably gonna end up together. It's fine, whatever, but I just feel like she kind of deserves a little bit better, just a little bit. Overall, I think she's just a really good character, and I would like to know more about her. I'm pretty sure this is like the origin story of how Nina and Matthias met, because I've been told by people that have read Six of Crows that in Six of Crows you don't really get their backstory in the beginning, so I'm pretty sure this is how they distinctly met each other. Like this is Nina and Matthias's origin story before they actually get into the crows, and I think that's cool. I think the way that the show was set up with all of these different storylines leading back together into one, it was really well done. So Matthias, last character. I don't really like this man all that much. I'll probably grow to like him, but yeah, he just kind of annoyed me. Like I said, I really just want better for Nina. He's incredibly sexist, very sexist, prejudiced towards Grisha, which I know it's like he's kind of grown up around that mindset, so like he was taught it, blah blah blah. Probably taught to be sexist as well, but also like this woman has saved your life on multiple occasions. You could at least like be a little nice to her. Like it took him until like the second to last episode to be like, yeah, maybe you're not that bad. I feel like he really did not deserve to be saved. I wouldn't have minded if she just gave him up, and now he's like locked up in a cage. Boo hoo. That's karma. That's called karma. Even if she didn't mean to do it on purpose, that's called karma. Because you could end up dead, but like that's just not the case. I don't know, I feel like it comes off as I don't like him. It's not that I don't like him, I just kind of just like, he's just there, like he doesn't do anything. He's just kind of annoying, but not enough where I'm like, I don't hate him. Maybe I'll end up liking him. It depends on what he does next season, but this season he just kind of is like to me. Okay, so now that I got through all the characters, time to talk about what I did not like and what I did like. I'm going to start off with things I did not like, because I like to end off on higher notes, guys. Come on. What I did not like: the love triangle between Alina, Mal, and Darkling. I personally feel like Alina only wanted the Darkling because he wanted her. Let me explain. Alina grew up as an orphan, and it was described heavily in the show and in the book that like she was never really wanted. Like no one ever looked at her. Also, because not only just because she was an orphan, but because she was half Shu, and like I didn't bring this up in her character because like it was like heavily brought up in the show, but it was barely brought up in the book, I feel like. So I didn't I was kind of thrown off by how much it was mentioned. But yeah, she's half Shu, and I guess the Grisha and like mortal people look down on Shus. That was the first time she was ever wanted, was by the Darkling, and I feel like she reciprocated whatever she was given, and I don't think her feelings were actually genuine. Like she's never had people look at her with want and need and feel special like that. So I think the Darkling definitely used that to his advantage, because she's very naive, and that like it was like she trusted him so easily, fell for him so easily. I was like, girl, like she had blinders on when it came to him. He's literally named the Darkling. Like I don't know if that's not a bad sign. I don't know what is. And then with Mal, like I said, their whole relationship was very underdeveloped in the show. And in the book. I didn't really root for either side in the book either. Nothing much to go off of with their relationship other than that they would die for each other, but we don't really know why, other than the fact that they're childhood besties. But even the like clips that they showed of flashbacks of them in the orphanage didn't really do much for me. It's just them running in fields. And then like her Grisha test where she like scarred her hand, and yeah, so the love triangle I just didn't like it. I thought it was very unnecessary. Next thing I did not like, the humanization of the Darkling in the show. I didn't really like it all that much. So in the book, the Darkling is described as kind of otherworldly. Like you're not really supposed to like feel bad for him at some points. You're not like, he's made to be like this immortal being that people are scared of, that people like bow down to, and all this stuff. And while they depicted that in the show, I feel like they didn't really do it justice that much in the show. Like he's kind of described to be soulless, and what he does is soulless, and that he's like inhumane in the book. And I thought that was really cool. Like I thought his character was really cool for that in the book. I was like, oh, it's very rare that like these types of shows and book plots have characters that are like this, like have no soul whatsoever. Like it was kind of like if you guys ever watch Game of Thrones, like some Game of Thrones characters are like that, like where they just do not give a fuck. Like they will hurt whoever comes in their way. They have no redemption. They don't want to be the good guys. And I thought that was really cool. Whereas in the show, in the show version of the Darkling, he was given this whole, you know, flashback sequence of like where you're supposed to like feel pity for him because he made the fold and it was an accident. Like I said, I don't think it was an accident. You're supposed to like in some regard feel bad for him, and then like there was a lot of backstory that he gave Alina. Like there was like he told Alina a lot of secrets and stuff, and I was just like, this doesn't really seem right. I don't know. I liked the way that the Darkling was described in the book, and he wasn't the way I'd imagine him in the show. Even like looks wise, I didn't expect the Darkling to look like that. That's no offense to the actor. The actor is handsome, but I just didn't expect the Darkling to look like that. I don't know what I thought he'd be. I just didn't think he'd look like that. I don't know. That's just me though, okay? That's just me. Another thing I didn't like, they took out the part in the book where Elena tells Mal, like, hey, if we don't find this stag before the Darkling, you have to kill me. And I thought that was a really cool part in the book. I thought it was kind of badass. I was like, hey, that would, like, I feel like that would develop the relationship a lot more. Like, we saw what it would take for Mal to actually have to kill Alina if it came down to it. Like, I thought that would have been really cool, and they didn't do that in the show, and I was kind of disappointed. Another thing, I don't know if this is like a dislike, more just of a confusion. The way that they handled racism in the show, I don't get it. Like the depictions of racism towards Alina because she's Shu, right? Because I'm pretty sure Shu was supposed to be like this world's take on like China maybe, or it's like an Asian continent, and then like Ravka is Russia. I'm pretty sure that was obvious to most people, so they look down on her for being Shu, right? But then when it comes to characters like a Nej and Jesper, they're kind of just like, oh well, they exist. At first I thought it was because like in the beginning of the show, like you see Jesper and Nej on the west side of Ravka, whereas like Elena and all the other characters on the east side of Ravka. But then you see how like Jesper and Nej get treated when they go to the east side of Ravka, and no one really turns an eye towards them. It's kind of weird, because you would think because of the way that they look that they like Jesper and Nej would be treated probably worse than like Shu. people, like people of the shoe race. I don't know. I didn't really get that. Like the depictions of racism, I was like, okay, that's interesting, but I'm confused, and I still am confused. I don't really get it. Like, I understand it was there for plot to some extent. This didn't make any sense to me. On to stuff that I did like, I really liked the similarities from the book to the live adaptation. For the most part, everything was pretty similar. Like, even like lines, like they took straight out of the book. Like, usually that doesn't really happen in live adaptations, which I really actually enjoy. They didn't change all that much. There were like a few tweaks here and there, but for the most part, I think those tweaks made the show a little bit better. The way that they portrayed the characters, for the most part, the way that they made the magic and stuff look in the world, I enjoyed it a lot. Because in the book, I had a problem with the book. I still have a problem with the book because I couldn't imagine the world they were in. It was very hard for me to imagine it, and like the way that like the people are divided, like the corporal nicks and the ethereal nicks. It's hard for my brain to make up in my head. But in the show, I think they did a really good job of portraying it. I also like the inclusion of the crows, if I did not make that obvious before. I like that they included the crows in this show. I feel like the crows added something that the show really needed. Interesting characters. The crows are the most interesting part of this show. Like, literally, I feel like they were the most developed characters as well, which is weird. Like a character that's a sun summoner that's supposed to save the world from like a dark shadow fold should be a lot more interesting than normal characters. The crows have no powers whatsoever. They're just literally criminals, but for some reason they're so cool. Like they're so much more interesting. I don't know if that's like done on purpose. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But yeah, I love the inclusion of them in the show. And then the last thing I liked, which I mentioned earlier, the actress that portrayed Alina. Let me look up her name because I feel so bad that I don't know. Jessie Miley. Yeah, she killed the role. I'm sorry if I mispronounced her name. I don't know. Like, I really did not like Elena in the book, and she made me like her a lot. So good on her for that. All the actors, like I said, killed it. But with Elena, I was so worried because I was like, if I don't like the main character, it's going to be so hard for me to get through like most shows. But she did a good job. She did a really good job. And that's it, I guess. I guess you could say that I enjoyed this show. I enjoyed the show more than the book. That's crazy. That rarely ever happens. So yeah, I can't wait for his season 2. It hasn't been confirmed as getting season 2, but I would assume it is because it's been #1 on the trending page of Netflix for a good 2 or 3 weeks. So I would assume that we're getting a season 2 probably sometime next year, and I can't wait for that. I also can't wait to finish the books. I didn't expect much from this show, but I ended up really liking it. Tell me what you guys think about it, because I know that there are a lot of different opinions regarding the book series, but then I know a lot of people like the show. Let me know. And yeah, I just want to hear what other people have to say. If you like to talk about it with me more, then you could follow me on Twitter right here. I interact most on Twitter, but if you'd like to follow me on all my other social medias, they will be linked in the description below. Bye everyone.